It's a lot of episodes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Margie. I am
Hi.
Ramona Ramirez. I almost forgot to say my name again. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I mean, again, we always talk for a few minutes
Yeah,
before we start. And so I think we've both cried, we've both
we
laughed,
did.
and, that seems like, you know, that's about right.
About right.
Yeah,
It is
it's
about
all,
right.
I was saying to you, it's just like I'm in a moment of like all big feelings. And big life stuff is happening, and um yeah, I'm just not like as regulated as I want to be, and that
Girl.
is the human experience. It's like I'll often think that something's wrong with me if my feelings aren't like in a manageable, like 4 to 7 range.
Oh my God,
Once they
Margie.
err toward like 8 to 10, then I'm like I'm out of control, and it's like no, you're not. Like big
Totally.
things are happening, big changes are happening, and like that's it's appropriate to have feelings that coincide with changes. And then once I adjust to, you know, things being a new normal, I'm being vague just because like my mom is having some health problems and things are changing. And, um, uh-oh, I'm going to cry, and I'm having feelings about it. So,
Yeah.
she's had an amazing life of being independent and physically and mentally present. And we're starting to lose little pieces of her mentally. And it's a big adjustment because I've only known her one way literally my whole life. So,
Ooh.
of course, I'm going to have 8 to 10s right now. You know what I mean?
Abso-fucking-lutely, I know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I just had a natal birthday, which are always like weird. You know what I mean? It just,
I know.
everything gets more heightened right around this time, and it has more meaning than it should. But who cares what it should have? Like, it just, this is not unusual for this time of year, which is usually why, like, for the past decade, I've like run away to Coachella for,
Yes, you
this year to
have.
like get drunk, get high, and listen to music. And this year, I'm super present with all of it and glad about it. I'm glad I got to, I get to see my mom and like all these things, but it's just different. And different is confusing until I get used to it, and I'll get used to it. So
And it can be terrifying. Different can be terrifying.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wanted to post something on our Instagram accounts about your birthday, but I know that you're not a fan of your birthday. Like I'm a fan of my birthday. Um, so I didn't, but just know that like I had the thought. And I also had the thought about wishing you a happy birthday at this point in the podcast so that everyone could wish you a happy birthday from their car or just wherever mentally. And I was like, no, she doesn't like her birthday. So don't do that. But you brought
You're
it up.
so
So
sweet. Yes, I did.
I am here to say happy birthday, friend. And I don't know what I would do if you hadn't been born. I am just so fucking grateful that you were born.
I feel the same way, honestly. And I do. I don't like
Thank
my
you.
birthday, but I love other people's birthdays. So I understand why people like want to celebrate mine. I think it's because I tell people this all the time. Like my birthday is April 16th, which is the day after income taxes are due. So my entire life it's been a gigantic bummer. Our
Oh,
accountant
shit.
our accountant Tony Fukuhara came to every birthday dinner that in memory in my family. So
Oh
like,
my
and he,
God.
by the way, he's lovely. He's like the best member of my family. But everyone was always bummed out, and like nobody wants to spend money after you just like gave half your income to Uncle Sam, and like So I think I've just always had this like. I'm prone to thinking I'm a burden anyway,
Oh
which
my
but
God.
it's what I've
I
worked on in
do.
all
I
these
do.
programs and
I
therapy for
do.
years. It's not that I believe it, but it's just, I think it's one of those things that like, it's just like, it's attached to so many years of like, um, IRS history that like, I haven't been able to like properly shake it. And yet I wound up with having a week where I saw so many people I loved who organized things for the purpose quietly and secretly for the purpose of like celebrating me, which was so nice. It was like so respectful because they know I wouldn't show up if they'd said, we're having a birthday dinner. But someone invited me over for dinner and there were 9 friends there, like
Oh my
with
God, I'm so thrilled.
I can't believe it. And, you know, you sent me an incredibly thoughtful, like clearly a gift from someone who listens to me. And I got really sweet presents from other friends and
I'm really
plants and
glad.
flowers, like things that I just love. So this week has been, it's just been full of big happy feelings, full of big confusing feelings. And then when I sit down with you, they all come out in variations on tears. So thank you for just like being present with me
Oh my God,
because there's
Marky,
no
it's my
answers.
honor.
It's just
It's my
like,
honor and my pleasure. And I'm so like, thanks are not necessary. Like, I thank you for sharing with me. I thank you for being in my life and trusting me enough to uh, come to me when the feelings are at an 8 and a 9 versus well, I want all the feelings. I want to hear it all, but I like adore you. I have nothing but space and love to hold you.
yeah, I mean, I feel that because like I love talking about feelings when they're at like a 4 to 6,
Fucked.
real comfortable. I
Seriously.
love feelings. I love talking about it. But the second they start to get like a little bit out of what feels like my control, as if I'm ever in control of anything anyway, then it really,
Oh,
I bring them to only like the most trusted people in my life. And it's always you. So thank you. I love you.
always you. I
Yeah.
love you. I'm so glad. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't have like a fully formed thought, but I had like a really hyperspeed flash across my brain this morning. Like, I don't know if I can show up for the podcast today. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I think I should stop. I mean, like it just, and it, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't put any stock in Mercury retrograde, but at the same time, when shit is hitting the fan over and over and it feels like extra mucky and terrible, I wonder, is Mercury retrograde? I haven't looked it up yet to see, but or did we just come out of it or whatever? But
I mean, we
it's
had a
neither here
whole
nor there. But
eclipse, you know, I don't know if
that,
that
yeah,
did anything, but I
it's
believe in
just
that stuff too. Everything feels a little scrambled right now.
it feels something feels, yeah. I guess why shouldn't it? I mean, there's just nothing but globally everything's at an 8, 9, and 10.
Hmm.
You know, so that, yeah, I guess macro and micro. Fuck.
The world needs
Anyway.
a Xanax,
Oh
just
my
half a
God, the
bar.
world needs a Xanax. I know. Yeah, I hardly ever take Xanax. And last night I thought about it and I was like, just, we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a good night's sleep. I have no problem taking a Xanax and I have no problem with people taking Xanax. I just, I worry about being groggy in the morning. And last night I put myself to bed at a decent hour and I couldn't fucking believe it. It was definitely not something that I'm good at. I often do what my therapist coins um, revenge procrastination. And from other, I subscribe to a subreddit called ADHD Women, and it's women talking about how ADHD manifests for them. And it is different. It presents very differently than it does in men. And it's like, I'll be exhausted on the couch. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I have to be up for something, but I cannot get myself off the bed. And I don't know if it's that I'm scrolling and I'm getting dopamine. Part of it is like, especially if I've worn makeup that day, I don't want to take it off. And so I procrastinate. And then just having the living room to myself and it's quiet and it's just me and whatever the fuck I want. And yeah, it doesn't serve me. It hasn't been serving me for a while. And so when I have those nights where it's just intuitive to go to bed at a decent hour. I'm really grateful. And so I think I just didn't want anything to happen in the morning. I was like, listen, it's not like you're trying to fall asleep. That would be one thing. If I couldn't fall asleep, I definitely would have taken the Xanax. But yeah. So anyway, we'll see. But on that note, everyone, please, if you've gotten anything from our podcast, from us talking about our big feelings and how we bring our respective recoveries to these Bravo personalities. If you have a minute, rate, review, subscribe, even if it's just to tap the stars.
Give
As
us
someone with
5 stars for our 10 feelings, for
Yes.
10 size feelings.
Yes. If you want to tap the stars, if you want to pass us on, we are available anywhere you download your podcasts. Spotify, iHeart. I'm trying to figure out how to post the podcasts, the audio version, to YouTube. YouTube, my God, YouTube is my albatross. Anyway, you can find us anywhere. So, and I get it. I get that it's hard to write a review. I've done it a couple of times, but once you're in there, once you've opened the little box to do it, it's not that bad. And it doesn't have to be long. So, anyway, that's just it. On that note, shall we?
Yes, Vanderpump Rules. Once again, I didn't write down the title. What was
I
this one
did.
called? I love you for that. Thank God.
This is season 11, episode 12. How do you like them apples?
Oh, right.
Yeah. How do
For
you like them
Scheana's
apples?
song. Okay.
Which I feel like they should have waited for this one until the song drops. Is that going to be the finale when she has like the song reveal or something? Are we getting close to it? It's how many episodes in this season?
I don't know, but I was thinking that too. I'm like, oh, they did already shoot the reunion. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
How much longer can we go? This is, I don't know. I wonder if this show is going to come back. I
could see one more season because now, like, yeah, I could see one more season. I have a feeling, and people have said this, that Ariana will likely step away just because her life is getting
Interesting.
so big and like it might be more of a burden to figure out how to work this into her schedule. Maybe she'll just sign on for like 4 episodes in a, 15 episode season or something. But whatever, I would watch another season. Like James and Allie, I'm so curious about them. Like I would watch them forever.
I am too.
However, they do live in the valley, so I guess they could transition to that cast if they wanted.
Oh God. I started watching it. We'll get there when we talk about what we watched this week. I started watching The Valley, and yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so how you like them apples? Sorry, you cut out. Did you say something while I was talking about? Okay. I have nothing kind or interesting to say about Scheana filming the 10-year anniversary commemorative version of the song with they're called the 27s. Is this what they're called?
I guess, which I didn't look into it because I think it's just going to super bum me out because the 27 Club is all of the artists who die at age 27. So I wonder if that was the motivation, because I can't think of another reason that you'd name your band that, but I didn't want to look into it.
Is that what they're called? The 27 Club?
I don't know.
I thought they were called the 27s, or I don't know.
They are. I think they are just called the 27s. But again, my only association with that number is like this tragic thing. And like I said, I was having big feelings this week, so it wouldn't have served me to look it up and just look at all the people I love who didn't get a long enough life. You know what I mean? I just was like not in the place to do that. Certainly not related to Sheena's screamo version of Good as Gold.
I mean, God bless Kyle Chan for letting them use the location. That's great. Yeah, whatever. That's all I have to say is whatever.
By the way, I
Yes.
did need to make a correction thinking of Kyle Chan. So his jewelry shop is right around the corner. And last week, I mistakenly said that Hair Boss is on 3rd Street. It's not. It's on La Brea by Pink's. So
Oh,
just in case anyone's getting their Los Angeles geography from this podcast, my mistake. There's 10,000 other
there are.
hair salons with the exact same awning on this block, but hers is elsewhere.
It just
Anyways,
it looked 3rd Street and it gave 3rd Street like, so
absolutely. It has
just
twins right around the corner here.
totally
But it
100%.
it
Oh
is
my
on La
God.
Brea. Who
And
cares?
extensions, it's like a blow dry bar, but for extensions. I feel like if it was that easy, I would probably get extensions. I still want to try some one time.
Absolutely. People get them all the time.
They get them all the
live with
time.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're it's a very like all of it. All beauty is an art now and
Yeah.
a science, and people are
And
really mastering it. So
it's like, yeah, I have to remind myself all the time when I watch these shows, when I watch anything, magazines, everyone has fake hair. Everyone has something in their face. Everyone has like a cutlet in their boob or an implant in their boob or, stuff in their butt. Like it's just it is now. It just is. And I have to remind myself, that it's not smoke and mirrors, but it is, everyone has some assistance if they want it.
look, we've just progressed from high heels and shoulder pads to
Right.
injections and extensions. Like
Right.
it's the same concept as high heels.
Yep.
It's like, well, she's not really that tall. Her
Right.
face isn't really that smooth. It's like, okay.
Right.
But she's
Exactly.
wearing heels and she got Botox, and who cares?
Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares?
The only thing that really happened in the scene, as far as I was concerned, was that Katie bailed on showing up to shoot Lala.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
to
right.
shoot with Scheana. Ariana and Lala were there, but Katie bailed, likely because she's not interested in spending time with Lala, who chose to film with Joe, who was in bed with Schwartz. And Lala knew Katie's feelings about Joe, and she was feeling raw and displeased that Joe was included in that way by Lala, who is Katie's friend in theory. So she didn't show up.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah, and it also seems like if there's anything to bail on, that would be my first choice as well.
That would be my yeah. I would bail. Like, oh, okay, we're gonna. I mean, I wonder if Andy is gonna say something about it again, because it feels like we're just not. Listen, and if it's a classic song, like fuck yeah, I want to hear it. I want to hear it all the time. But I'm just not. I'm not moved by this song. It doesn't speak to me. It doesn't. It's not one of those. It's not a classic bop. Whatever. Maybe to me. Sorry, Scheana. It's just,
Well, and she's ridiculous. She spent this whole season saying like how I wanted to be on Dancing with Stars and I wanted to do all these things. And now she's trying to sell us on like music is really where I free myself. It's where I like feel most me. And if I'd known 10 years ago that I'd be making a music video I'm just like, no, you are investing in this in a way that literally no one else is, especially Katie, who took a picture of herself in bed to say like, talk to you never. No, thank you.
On my deathbed. Stomach hurts on my deathbed.
She looked gorgeous. Her on my deathbed picture was like what I would,
I love Katie Maloney, and I would watch next year for Katie Maloney.
Yeah,
Katie's my favorite. And I know she's had some real bad behavior through the years. I understand that, but I also feel like she's pretty real.
Well, now that she's not beholden to Schwartz, now that she's separated from him, she seems like a new level of herself, which is really exciting. She's really authentic, I think.
I love it. I love her fucking haircut. I love her grunge era, mid-90s, super cute fucking haircut. Good for Katie.
It works for her.
I'm rooting for her.
Me too.
Oh, I love that the editors let us know that we are about to see a scene at James and Allie's house because a fucking Southwest plane goes overhead.
Never gets old. Puts a smile on my face every time.
Me too. It's just the best. It's the best.
it endears me to them for no good reason. It just
Right.
does. I'm just like, oh, now we're in Burbank.
Now we're in Burbank.
Directly under the airport.
Totally.
And I thought, again, James and Allie are really like the past few episodes, I'm just really liking them. And James in this episode in particular, I'm like, wow, there is someone who is not resolved yet, but exhibiting growth. And if recovery is measured in progress, like James is a recovering person, it's impressive. So Allie calls James into the room to listen to or talk about the podcast, Bethany's podcast that Raquel was on. And James, I was really impressed. He was clearly displeased, but his anger was manageable and it was right sized compared to when we met him spitting on doors and hitting things and hitting people. Like he basically boiled it down to she's, just using a platform to call me out as being a bad doggy dad. And that's just, that's a reflection of her and not me. And so I'm not going to get mad. It appeared to hurt him to be called a bad doggy dad, but he didn't lose his shit, and he could have.
He could have.
In the past, he would have. So
yeah. Okay, you're right. I only, the skepticism is just because the rumblings, however low of volume they've been, that he was abusive to Kristen, that he was abusive to Rachel. So I just don't know yet, but I agree. From what we are seeing, he really is surprisingly like mature and thinking more than just what's right in front of his face, and it's influencing his actions.
And I'm literally taking it like one scene at a time here.
Right,
like I
right.
don't know. He does, it seems like it could potentially be a thing he's done to be abusive on a level that we haven't seen on film. But just in terms of, I don't know, this episode like really kind of tested him in a lot of ways, and he kept his cool. He really did. And I don't know if I would have. Like, he's heartbroken over the loss of his friendship with Tom Sandoval. And he's told Tom that 100 times, and Tom will not receive that information. Or if he does, he forgets it and is defensive by the time he sees James next. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like James is coming to terms with things in this episode, and he does a nice job of like not creating more wreckage while his heart is breaking. And that's hard to do.
It's so hard. Oh my God. It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to do that. You're right. Oh my gosh. Okay. James is the MVP.
James is our teacher.
He is the MVP of this episode, mental health wise, it seems like.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, some of the things he said in his conversation with Tom, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But first we're back at Scheana's music video shoot, and Lala brings up the Rachel interview on Bethany's podcast. And Ariana, to her credit too, mostly shrugs it off, but just says like, it's kind of ridiculous that she said we were only acquaintances because our Instagram feeds are full of images of our lives intertwined for ages.
We watched it on camera. We watched season 10 and we watched season 9. Like
they rolled back the footage for us of her saying like, these are my close friends. These are my friends for life. It's like, well, then it's very hard unless either that was a lie, saying that Ariana was like her closest friend, a friend for life, and she lied to cover that statement only had to do with her feelings for Tom. So either it was that lie, or she's lying now saying we were only acquaintances. I don't know. Either way, she sucks. So it just is not, this was a bad time. This was when Rachel emerged from 3 months in therapy and just exhibited no recovery.
Yeah. Yeah. Oy. Yeah. Oh, Rachel. I don't know. I don't know. This is, yeah. Well, it's a road that isn't linear, and She also has just started. Hence,
And
she loves to use all the like therapy words right away and cram them all in into every conversation that she has. And so, yeah, we'll see in a year or two, maybe.
And I always like to say to myself and everyone else, you can course correct any time. No matter how outrageous your behavior gets, you don't have to just stay there because you started. You can always undo it and admit your faults and change course. So maybe that day will come for her.
I just
Yeah.
wrote that little quote down.
Oh,
Yes, I
how about
did.
that?
I felt like Lala had balls to ask. Wait, are we back?
We bounce back and forth. So
We bounce
like
back and forth.
we're
Okay.
the next place we stop is like back in with James and Allie.
Okay.
I mean, after Scheana says that reports that Raquel said on the podcast that Scheana has a savior
Yes.
complex. Scheana says she paid very little to stay at her place and she never stocked toilet paper. And I was like, oh my God, you
Oh
are
my
Tom
God.
Sandoval.
I
Like
mean,
all of you
honestly,
people are just focused on the
honestly,
weirdest.
it's just,
Yeah.
I know. Okay, good. I wasn't, okay. I was like, wait, why do I have this note down? I was in a horrendous mood when I watched this episode. Like, I was in no mental space to suffer these fucking fools. And so, um, yeah, that might be why I got a little confused right now. I thought that Lala had balls to ask Ariana, after talking all of this shit, to ask Ariana to borrow her house for her sperm donor party.
I literally just wrote it in all
thought it
caps,
was
go to hell.
pretty fucking egregious.
Yeah.
I would never. If I was talking that much shit and if I had that many feelings about someone, that I was seemingly like a dog with a bone. Like it's like become like a crusade for Lala almost.
Well, and it
feels
almost
like.
seemed like, I mean, I'm now so convinced of my theory that Lala is in bed with LVP this whole season because Lala knows the state of affairs at that house. She doesn't really want her sperm donor party hosted at that house that's in such turmoil. She just did it to lightly humiliate Ariana and make her have to say, like, no. However, it did lead to like a lovely little storyline because Ariana says, no, the place is too messy since Anne is no longer in the picture, Tom's former assistant. And then then Ariana like is so kind. She's like, but when I find my new home, you can come and get inseminated there. You know, like she's so extends herself the extra mile. And Lala just says like, well, Lisa offered to help in any way she can. So obviously, of course,
Yeah.
if your options are Valley Village or Villa Rosa, you're
Plus,
always going to be choosing Villa Rosa.
I already have the catering and I already have all the stuff. Like, fuck
Because
you.
Lisa
You know
arranged
how the
it.
sausage is made. You're
And
right, dude.
this episode, Lisa was all over it because she's been absent the past few weeks. And I think as a producer, she was like, excuse me, I want to be involved in this. And she is so unwelcome, in my opinion. I just hate her presence on the screen. She adds nothing. She makes me uncomfortable. She's wrong most of the time. Just, ugh. Leave us alone.
She has no fucking value add, dude.
No.
Oh my God. I just don't get me started. Don't get me started when we're almost to that scene that every time I go to TomTom, it's against my fucking will. Every time I go to TomTom on this show, well, I haven't gone IRL, but like every time I see her god awful aesthetic somewhere, it's all against my will. Would I go to Vanderpump Perry in Vegas? Yeah, I would. So I guess fucking full hit, but I also
no. But Vegas is a ridiculous place, so it's the perfect place to go to a ridiculous restaurant.
You're right.
Los Angeles
That's true.
has some. We have some street cred here, and it is not on the corner of Robertson and Santa Monica. I'll tell you that much.
Of all the places I would want to spend my time, exactly.
I do want to go back. There was a scene with James and Allie. This was like broken up in between, where James, again, Allie had called him over to listen to the podcast and he declined. And then he just asked her, he said, is there anything else I should know? And Allie just explains to him, you know, that Raquel is basically rewriting history, saying she never actually loved Tom and she got together with Tom because she wasn't really over James. And Allie is so kind. And she goes, oh, I wonder how he feels. Thinking of Tom Sandoval. I thought that
Oh
was
my
so nice.
God. I
And
mean,
then James, we see how conflicted he is because he says Tom invited him to visit his rehearsal space with his stupid band. And Tom has asked James to open for him at the El Rey, which is an iconic
completely
Los Angeles
iconic.
venue. Yeah.
Beautiful venue. I love that venue. Yeah.
So although James says I've outgrown that mostly, I'm considering it because the venue is so special and because he's not sure how he feels about his friendship with Tom. Like if it will be worth saving their friendship, he'll do it. And then in a confessional, he says Tom has lied to him as I have lied to Tom. And I just don't know if anything in this friendship was real. Is there anything left to salvage?
Oh my
And like,
God.
what a
Oh my God.
what a profound question to sit with. There's no
Yeah.
answer to that. Like he gets answers throughout the episode, but like it's really hard to ask those questions that have no answers. It's easier to be mad and be like, fuck him. And he sort of gets
Yeah.
there. But anyways, and then Allie reports that Lala is having this stupid sperm donor party. And then, yeah.
Lala just wants a fucking excuse to say baby daddy.
That
She's
decor.
so offensive.
Did you die? The decor at that party? It was just like Party City garbage. It literally says like,
Did it
it
say
was,
who's your daddy on it?
yes,
Oh God.
everywhere. That was the motif.
Yeah, I mean,
And that
I'm
it's
not,
so LVP too. That whole party was just like a Lisa Vanderpump, like boring ass, played out vagina comedy. Oh, I'm fumbling around for it. Maybe Ken should do it. He always fumbles in the dark. Oh, that was more satisfying than when I conceived my child. Shut up. Leave us alone. It's not funny.
it's not funny. It's
Quit
not
it.
funny. Ugh.
Anyway.
Schwartz and Sandoval are at Schwartz's house, and Sandoval is spinning. He's spinning after the podcast. He's spinning. He sheds some tears, which may or may not be. Again, he hid his whole face. And I'm just such a skeptic when it comes to him. I'm skeptical when it comes to people who display narcissistic behavior. I'm not his physician, nor am I a physician, period. I am not qualified to diagnose this man. Again, I will say that he reminds me of the narcissists that I know. And so I automatically do not trust him one iota. And he can't understand why she said she doesn't think he loved her. I mean, you stayed with Ariana and you didn't break up with her. You know? Like, I don't know. I guess I don't know where he's coming from with this.
He
I don't know
is,
what his end game is.
as the kids would say, he is delulu. He is out of his mind, and narcissism is likely the cause. I agree. He just cannot see anything outside of his own, uh, framing everything as like, I've been victimized. It's shocking the degree it gets to in this episode. Again, if it were like a scripted network show, they would say this is too broad. Like nobody would ever behave like this. And it's like, I will reference this from here on out. But like, yeah, he says he doesn't understand how Raquel couldn't think he was anyone who didn't absolutely love her and care for her. And I wrote the same thing. I'm like, except you didn't tell the truth. You didn't leave your relationship to legitimize her. You did actually nothing. A pair of sunglasses is not a substitute for real action.
It's
Like,
not.
what are you talking about? You had an
Yeah.
affair, you dumbass.
Mm-hmm.
What? And then Schwartz, in his like sad, resigned, stupid way, is like, it's
God.
over. It's been over. And it's like, you're right. But the way you're saying it is like as if you're put upon too. Both of you guys are at fault in this in your own ways. And it'll be so much less exhausting if you just like find your part and, tend to yourselves instead of, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't buy any of his tears. I thought this was all, I do feel bad for him because I know that she never talked to him again after going into treatment.
Yeah.
But that is appropriate. And like,
Yeah, it is.
oh, well.
And it's a hard place to, for, and not just for Sandoval. Like, I'm not saying this in defense of him. I am just saying that would be a very hard place for him to operate out of. Like, that's it. It happened. She went away and they never talked again.
Well,
And
I think
it's just strange.
Yeah, and I'm no fan of Sandoval at all, but I did agree with later on when he said, like, what was the point? We blew up everything and to
Yeah.
not even give it a try. I'm kind of like, yeah, like you really ruined your lives. But she took a
Yep.
different path. She chose the scorched earth path, and that was a strange choice. But here we are. And now we're at TomTom. So your favorite place.
God, I just like, yeah. Yeah. Lisa, again, if we're going to talk about people that are divorced from fucking reality, which is what I try to be in alignment with reality. That is part of why I continue to go to therapy and why I continue to try to look at my part in everything that I do in my life, however messy and unfucking comfortable and excruciating it can be. Because I want to see reality. It feels cleaner to me. So when Lisa says that TomTom and Pump have a very different aesthetic, I laughed and laughed, a sarcastic, possible quasi cackle. Bitch, they're all full of home goods clearance yellow ticket items with beads that need to be dusted like constantly. This terrible, I don't know. Okay. Okay, Lisa.
And this is such like this just felt like a sad move. She's basically bringing the brunch that Pump used to serve over to TomTom because Pump is now closed. And with
Mm-hmm.
it, she brought the sign, which is just like, the whole thing just felt like, again, as you say, the place is already overcrowded with decor. And now you're going to add a sign. It says TomTom Pump. Like, it's just so much. It just gets busier and busier and more unfocused and insane in there.
Let the mouse go. Pump came, it went. You didn't bring over the Villa Blanca sign to Sir when you closed Villa Blanca. Yeah. I don't know. If anything, she's on brand. She's on brand. Her decor.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we see Villa Rosa in this episode too, and it's like, yeah, there's consistency, if nothing else. If there's no taste,
The
there is
Villa Rosa, the little letters were like askew, and I was all, oh, ha, ha, ha. So Tom tells Lisa Vanderpump he wants to listen to Rachel's podcast to see what people are saying about him.
Wait, hold on.
That
First of
rubbed
all,
me the wrong. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just want to point out that Tom Sandoval is 30 minutes late. He's 30 minutes late.
Yes.
This is his business. This is his boss. He's 30 minutes late and unapologetic, and he offers up like strawberry puree as if that's any kind of excuse. It just really,
Egregious.
again, I'm in such a bad mood about him in this episode.
30
and I was
minutes.
Like,
you're right.
And then he just walked in and she goes, "You're late." She goes, "You're really late."
So gross.
And he said, "Sorry," as if like it's annoying to him to be called out for being 30 minutes late. Anyways, I would never. Okay. And I run late. I have been known to be late, but if I'm 30 minutes late, I'm going to be effusively apologetic, and I'm not going to throw strawberry puree in someone's direction and say, and shrug and go like, "Sorry."
They have a 2% stake in TomTom.
They're so fucking lucky. And
Dude.
They just look that gift horse in her Rococo mouth all day, every day, and don't think twice about it. It is shocking.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, when you're going to and from the valley, I just always give myself an hour. I gave myself a fucking hour. I didn't care what time of day it was. It's like, you can't. Okay, here's what you could do. I don't even know about that. Like, I remember when President Obama would come to LA and it would shut down like the whole fucking city. It would take forever. So yeah, shit happens, but you also know about it. It's like traffic is a thing. You talk about the traffic. It is another character, if you will, like LA is a character in this show. The traffic comes along with it. And it just, So there's no excuse.
And
There
this
are
was
excuses, but there's also no excuse.
exactly. And this is they were to meet at 1:15 and he arrived at 1:45, which I guarantee you means he left his house at 1:15. I know where he
Totally.
lives. He's
Mm-hmm.
right over the hill, and so he
Yep.
left at the time that he was meant to be there. And if you're going to do that, at least text and say on the road, drop a pin
Right.
so they can follow you, so
Oh
you
my
can
God.
give any
Totally.
respect. Anyways, whatever. He just is annoying. But now on to what you were talking about with Tom Sandoval having listened to Rachel on Bethany's podcast.
Yeah. And I'm so sorry I talked over you with that. We cut out for a minute and I didn't know. So yeah, he tells Lisa that he wants to listen to the podcast because he wants to see what people are saying about him. I that rubbed me the wrong way, and it seemed like the wrong reason to want to listen. I would be like, it seemed like he was saying the quiet out loud. Like, yeah, of course we all want to hear it, but it shouldn't be your main motivation for wanting to listen. Like, you were in a relationship with this person for 7 months, a romantic relationship for 7 months. They had like a friendship relationship before then. I would want to hear about how they're managing their lives, not to get more information that I need to do damage control on or control, or I don't know. So that wasn't it. Okay. I thought it was real gross that he said that.
It was so weird. And I just get taken by such a ride on the show. I was talking to you before we started recording, saying that, Lisa Vanderpump is telling him, don't listen to the podcast. And I wrote, well, I hate Sandoval, but he's allowed the dignity of grieving this experience. He's allowed to miss her and want to gather information as much as he can. And it's absurd to expect he wouldn't listen to every episode of this podcast when, in his mind, without explanation, she's just absolutely cut him off. And then he said, I want to know what's being said about me. And I was like, oh no, this is what I do. I project all of my hopes onto someone. I'm hoping that he's grieving and he's trying to gather information to move the process along in a healthy way. No, it's pure narcissism. He wants to know what people are saying about him so he can get defensive and come up with reasons why they're wrong and he's always right and he's the victim. And
Yeah, exactly.
poor Sandoval. Ugh.
Oh my God. It was just so, it's embarrassing.
Agree.
I have like secondhand humiliation for him. It's so gnarly.
And he sure doesn't.
It's the fact that he just doesn't think. Oh, I can't even imagine. Lala shows up. And I guess she shows up and she asks LVP about if she can have her sperm party at Villa Rosa. And it's just so fucking dumb.
This whole episode is just Lala
Insulting.
Really, yeah. And
Yeah.
Lala just like really forcing tears about this whole thing of like, she says to LVP, like, allow me to be excited about this because I'm really excited about this. And then LVP goes, well, then I give it my blessing, I guess. And I'm like, you two are ridiculous monsters. It's just.
You're right.
I loved the storyline. I think an unconventional, like building a family in an unconventional way is a beautiful thing to put on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
But these two are just, they're making a mockery of it. And the amount of weeping she does about, at a party where she sticks sperms on fallopian tubes. I'm just like, dude, just like, I know, please.
I know. Oh my God.
I will say the other little piece of information we get in this scene is when Lisa asks Tom what's going on with the house. And Tom reports that Ariana accepted his offer, but blames her for taking too long and says, well, she took 2 months to answer. So like maybe my thoughts have maybe changed a little bit since then. And what's clear is that he's unable to afford to follow through with his offer. Ariana's lawyer made a counteroffer that presents the real expense of this buyout, and I don't think he can afford it. So now he's going to try and come up with other solutions.
Ay. So wait a minute. Oh, yeah. So after that, we go to Ariana's house and they are talking about, yeah, I took notes that don't even make sense because, again, I was in no mood and I was offended by all of them. Not Ariana and not Katie. Tom wants to sell the house now. And she's like, you could have just done this 2 months ago. We could have already been out. Ariana is talking to Scheana and Brock, who've come over to, and I gotta say, like, I don't care for Scheana and Brock, but they knew what she needed.
I loved this
And
scene. I thought this was so
I did
kind.
too. I will say that as someone that when I've had, okay, now that I've been diagnosed with ADHD, I now know what my blocks were for so many fucking years. It was always so much easier for me to clean, put away laundry, do anything, do my chores when someone was just in the house with me. Like, I don't care if I don't even need you to help me. I just want another person there. Read a magazine, drink a fucking coffee, like do whatever, watch TV. But just having another person there felt like all the support and motivation that I needed. And so it felt real loving of Scheana and Brock to show up. And for how much I complain about Brock, I will say that he does always seem really willing to be on board with whatever his wife wants to do. I'm not saying that's what makes a successful, happy couple, but he thinks highly of his spouse, and he seems like a willing, happy participant in the plans that she makes for them, because he wasn't, he, it felt like they were both there and they were excited to be there. They were happy to be there, and they were they were happy to be generous with their concern. And I just, yeah, I thought it was really sweet too.
I loved it. And I just want to mention, like, I think this is why, because, like, so Brock was there at the Good as Gold or video shoot, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Lala and Ariana arrived and they were like, how's your day? And Brock was like, it's been a full day. Like, so clearly he'd been there all day. He
Mm-hmm.
shows up to do this with just like the lightest, kindest attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that's partly why I think when he has those discussions with Scheana, when he's like, I would like a schedule. And she's like, nah, 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 and he doesn't get heard. I'm like, dude, all he does is show up for you in every
Yeah,
way. You've
that's a
got to
really good
make room
point.
for him in your relationship, because she's getting everything she wants and she just doesn't want to have to risk losing him on her timeline, which would happen if he gets to have a life of his own. But anyways, I really did like this. It did speak to how like deep their friendship is, that it was sort of mentioned in passing when Ariana said, like, my house is too messy. I can't host your party. And Scheana heard that and was like, oh, that's a reflection of her mental state right now. And I want to make sure she doesn't get into too dark a hole. So I'm just going to go over there. And Ariana barely touched anything. They did everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really sweet. Like, I'm with you. And
It
also,
was
I
so
could never
sweet.
live in that kind of mess. When they showed the flashbacks to how messy that house is, I was just like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I would die.
Yeah. I mean, my very first therapist, and this was when I was a teenager. And so I was like 16 when I started seeing her. And so the only thing I had to keep clean was my own bedroom. And my bedroom was a fucking chaotic mess. And she was like, it is a reflection of your insides. And so now when I have like chaotic corners or chaotic piles, I know that there's chaos going on somewhere inside. And it is so hard to manage chaos, especially when you're someone that sees all or nothing, sees black and white. Like putting away, hanging up 3 shirts doesn't feel good enough as hanging up the whole basket of shirts. And so why am I going to start if I don't have the time or the energy to do the whole basket? And I don't like living in chaos. I hate it. It doesn't feel fucking good. And yet sometimes it has felt like it's too much to try to manage. It's too overwhelming. And it's that all or nothing thinking that keeps me from just doing one little thing. So yeah, this was an impactful scene for me. This was much more than just like Ariana's house is messy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
even appreciated like Ariana resisted and was like, don't touch that stuff. That's probably sweaty. And Brock was very sweet, reminding her, he's like, we're parents. We pick up literal shit on a daily basis. Like, you can't gross us out. So,
Yeah.
and they continued. They picked the shoes up off the table. I was just like, oh my God, this was so necessary that someone comes in here and
Yeah.
does even just the
Yeah.
slightest overhaul. Yeah, this was
Yeah.
sweet. That was a sweet little
Yeah.
scene.
Agreed.
Good friends.
Oy. And
Oh
then we
God.
go to Sandoval's rehearsal space. And this was just, this could have been a whole episode. Oh God, just the secondhand embarrassment I had. The second, the third, the fifth, the 10th. Like I had all the hands of embarrassment watching Sandoval singing and then doing his really bad David Lee Roth kicks. And his spins. Oh God.
First of all,
How?
you used the word insulting before, and it applies to this scene as well. He is talentless. His falsetto is bullshit, and his bandmates look miserable.
They do.
And he's doing this whole stupid performance that ends with like a light fog machine, you know, like
during
at the
practice.
end. I just wanted to, and he was so fucking smug and proud of himself. And God bless James. James walks in there with Hippie and he tries to like bop around, like the beat is good. So I think James was just like trying to be supportive and find something to grab onto. And then Sandoval is so smug when he's done. He's like, hey man, thanks for coming, man.
Oh,
like he's some big
fudge.
rock star. Like, God, he's such a
Oh my God.
loser.
Oh God. It's really, yeah. It's just the divorce from reality is so palpable. And it's scary to me because I don't understand. I don't want to go so far as to say it feels threatening. I mean, when people in my real life have been divorced from reality, that feels threatening, but he's just the schadenfreude that I get from watching him be delusional. It's just
he's
weird.
wearing a t-shirt that says dipped out.
Dude,
this episode ends
God.
with him storming out of TomTom saying to Scheana, like, go ahead, man, capitalize on my misery. I'm like, you're in this scene, you're wearing merch that is capitalizing on your misery. And for the record, you created your misery. Like there is nothing in this that makes you a sympathetic victim. So, oh my God, he's just fuck him in every way.
Totally.
And James comes in with so much like genuine softness and empathy. He really came to try. And he asked how Tom is doing after being the talk of the town, after these podcasts have been released of Rachel. And then, I mean, Sandoval just takes the weirdest tack. This scene blew my mind. Sandoval calls Rachel selfish and tries to relate to James, saying like he was selfish during both of our breakups. And then he tries to drag James, saying like, oh, you know what she told me? She said that she asked you not to stop drinking, expecting that you wouldn't. And then she'd leave you. And James reminds him that like, well, Rachel said things about you that also aren't true. So like, let's not do this. And James says, you know, I'm not here to talk shit about Rachel. I'm done talking shit about Rachel. And I was like, that is growth. Right? I lost my mind. I was like, you have been invited to the most delicious, satisfying fight of your life where you could just sit here with another man scorned by Raquel and go off. And you don't. You said, I'm not here to do that. I don't do that anymore. I've moved on with my own life. Whoa.
Yeah. And that is ultimately more satisfying than jumping on the easier, softer thing to do, which would be to pile on and add to the gossip fire. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It was good.
This whole scene blew my mind because then James speculates that Sandoval's relationship with Rachel was just a fuck fest. And Sandoval claims it was so deep and they would talk for like 5 hours. And if they had sex, meanwhile, let's remember that last year he said it was like a drug. I couldn't stop having sex with her. All I could think about was fucking her. And now he's like, no, we talked. And if we had sex, it was just like a once or twice. It's like, and then James nails it. He goes, you're a liar. that's just the facts. And Sandoval denies it. And he's like, no, I'm not. That's your opinion. And I was like, no, this is the problem. This is where I reacted. I'm like, this is the problem with all the liars in my life, is they claim they're not liars. Here's the thing. I know you're a liar and I will love you anyway. But when I know you're a liar and you know you're a liar, but you tell me you're not a liar, I'm out. I can't. I can't believe how willing I am. I wish I could tell these people how much I am capable of loving you if you just own up to the fact that that is who you are now, Tom. You told a massive lie and now you are a liar. And if you won't accept it, nobody can accept you because it's scary. It's terrifying. Anyways.
Totally. I mean, I wonder the same thing. Like, I don't know if they were really in love, but I definitely think that they were both in love with the dopamine, the constant and consistent, the mutually consistent delivery of dopamine. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And they spoke about it. They both got things from the other that had been desperately lacking in their prior relationships. Like Rachel said, I felt heard by him. I felt important to him in a way that I never felt with James. And Tom said, I felt attractive with her. I felt wanted with her. And this was something he was missing in his relationship. So, like, yes, I don't think it was love either, but like, regardless, he did tell a lie. So like, to be like, I'm not a liar, that's your opinion. It's like, no, it's not an opinion. It's the reason Sandoval became a thing. And then James, you know, he gives Sandoval another chance. He reminds Sandoval, he says, you had true love with Ariana. You talked about it all the time. And Sandoval's like, no, I didn't. You don't know. And James is like, yes, you did. You said it all the time. And now you're just rewriting history in all different directions. And, and then James is just like, I'm not going to open up for you because I've moved on to bigger and better things. And meanwhile, he has. I don't know if you saw, like, he performed at the Neon Carnival at Coachella. Like, it's huge.
Yeah.
I never thought he would make a huge career out of DJing, but what the fuck do I know? He's blowing up.
And then Taylor was there to hear the remix he did.
I didn't see, people were talking about that, but I haven't seen that. Did she hate it? Was that the
No,
I
don't think she did.
Oh.
I don't think she did. She was singing along, and then all of a sudden when like the changes he made came up, she was all, oh. Yeah.
I mean, just to have a reaction video of Taylor Swift
it was
near
all
your
over
work is pretty
blogs.
major.
Totally.
And then James has this confessional where, in my opinion, he was like fully coming to terms with the disappointment of who Sandoval actually is. And these are the hardest things. And he says he can't let go of the past. And he said, I want him to get a clue, or maybe he never will. And like, that broke my heart, because that was where, to me, James realized Sandoval's not evolving. He's not growing. He is going to be the washed up reality star that James envisions him being, pulling out the dick flute at a dive bar on Sunset Boulevard when he's 75 years old. Oh my God. And then Sandoval is just an asshole at the end, and says, go push some buttons on your laptop.
Oh.
And again, to James' credit, he could have walked over there and gotten in his face, but he said, what'd you say? And Sandoval was like, you heard me. And James was like, say it to my face. And then Sandoval was like, go push some buttons on your computer. Don't call my band a joke, dude. And James walked out and just said, okay, I will, Sandoval, and just left. That was, again, another invitation to a fight that James would have every right to get into. And instead, he fucking high-roaded his ass right out of there. And I was I was impressed.
Yeah, you're right.
He is growing up.
He made it so easy. Sandoval made it so easy. Oh, God.
And I'll just say, like, I think I was so impressed because, like I said before, Sandoval is totally insensitive to how he has hurt James. Like, James has told him that he's heartbroken, that he cried at the reunion saying, like, you were like a big brother to me. You've ruined that. And like, I don't know, James is experiencing heartbreak, and that's a really justifiable place to get angry from. And he chose not to. And that's hard. And I thought it was impressive. And James was, he was like a little superhero for me in this episode. He
absolutely was. Oh, God. And then we just continue the Sandoval embarrassment tour 2024, 2023, whenever they recorded this. Schwartz comes over to Sandoval's house, Sandoval and Ariana's house. Craig is there. Craig is his body double. It's gross to me. And also, Tom Sandoval is wearing a fucking Laura Croft fucking knife garter on his calf.
What
Bitch,
was
where
that?
are you going? I don't know. I'm just so humiliated. I'm so fucking humiliated.
And he was holding like a pirate scope or something. He
It
was like
was
looking through some
just
telescope with one, like he just looks ridiculous. The
he's
thing on his leg, I
so
was like, you are so embarrassing. I
yeah,
can't even
so
be here.
embarrassing. So embarrassing. And like just thinking that he's so cool. It was oh God, like my stomach. I like, oh. And I don't care about this man. I literally don't care about this man at all. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, honestly. But like, I just, ew, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to watch. It's uncomfortable to watch.
And he's so arrogant. Like his confidence tips to arrogance because, you know, he made a joke about Maya. He's like, I guess I should just get my knife out and saw her in half.
That was
And I was
so
like,
weird.
that's not funny. That's like super fucked up. And then as the scene goes on, so he talks about Craig, his new assistant. And I listened to Anne's podcast, her like I signed an NDA podcast, and his old assistant. And she never heard from him. He texted her to say take a couple days off, and she never heard from him again.
Gross.
She heard from someone else that Craig was his new assistant, and she was like, okay, I guess I'll get, I'll file for unemployment and like get a new job. He's a turd. It's a fucking turd.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then he gets into like price gouging Schwartz, inviting him to be a roommate. Like the whole thing was just, and going in on a loan together. Like he's a criminal. What is he doing?
I don't know. I again though, like when Schwartz said he doesn't want to be his roommate because of the optics, to me that gave me the same thing as when Tom Sandoval said, I don't want to listen to the podcast, or I want to listen to the podcast because I want to see what people are saying about me. Like, really? The optics? Oh God. And I guess, okay, I will give benefit of the doubt. They are trying to run a business. Is Schwartz and Sandy still open?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
but it keeps weird hours. Like it's always open on Tuesday nights. Like they have a watch party there. But other than that, there are people who have like, gone by on a Monday and it's just like randomly closed. So I don't know what's going on with that joint.
I just like, I get that Schwartz has a coating of stink on him. It's not like the impenetrable, baked on coating that Sandoval has, but Schwartz, he caught strays, like he did. And so I get it, but it also just, again, just don't say it, I guess. Just what are you doing?
Say what you mean, but don't say it mean. Like these are people in their 40s. Just say like, no, that's not going to work for me right now, man.
Right.
Good luck. Instead of being like, oh, the optics are terrible. It's like you're still blaming an outside entity instead of just saying, for me, this isn't a good offer. So no, thank you. Just say it. It's so gross. It's so like, there's just vagueness is weakness in my opinion. And that kind of like dancing around, just saying like, no, thank you. That's a totally reasonable answer. As they say in therapy, no is a complete sentence.
No is a complete sentence. Exactly.
You could just say no. Anyways.
And $6,000 fucking rent. $6,000. And then he said how much. And then Schwartz is paying over $4,000 for his apartment
in the Valley.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I know rents have gone up
massively,
but in that apartment with like the bad carpet and the,
shitty kitchen,
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
I mean, I guess it's like, I didn't understand that either. Maybe there's like some beautiful appointments that we've missed, but it doesn't, look like? Anyways, who cares? It just, both of them are talking about money in a way that's just outrageous. Like, because
Outrageous.
Sandoval says like it's $6,000 a month, no equity. Like, so you're just
No equity.
pissing that away while I continue to
What
build
the
equity
fuck?
in this
I
home.
know,
And
honestly.
then he's like, whatever, you're paying $4,300 a month already. And I'm like, do you understand that $1,700 a month more over the course of 12 months adds up to a big lump sum?
Yeah,
Like, if he hasn't
it does.
budgeted for this, you're asking a huge thing. Like, it just, he's so casual about it. And then he's like, we'll go get a loan. I'm like, for your house? Like, what are you talking about? I didn't even understand what was happening. It just, all of it sounded like desperate and shady and like all bad business. But
It really did. It really, really did.
it was weird.
It was really weird. Oh my God. Hey, oh my
Speaking
God.
of weird, onto the
I said
sperm donor.
onto the
Oh,
sperm. Yeah, onto the sperm donor party. Oh my gosh. Um,
what?
we skipped over the part where they first went to the sperm donor party. And this is I forgot about this. Allie had filled Katie in on Lala talking shit about Katie at paintball and says that she's miserable, which we see that that's not what she said. But like, honestly, I get it. Like,
She
she's
said she's
unhappy.
been unhappy and she's been
Right,
unhappy for a long
right,
time. So
right.
you can extrapolate that to miserable, like
Totally.
without too much effort. That's fine.
And
I
like,
don't
I
think
just wrote,
Allie meant
fuck
any
you, Lala.
harm. Yeah,
No,
100%.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Um, and then, yeah, Lala says that all the people are there because she loves them all. And then the videographers pan to Katie, and Katie's like, really?
Oh my God.
And then the dick riding of Lisa Vanderpump commenced with, Lisa, you go first. Not your mom, not your friends, Lisa Vanderpump. And it's just,
And her like
yeah, you're right.
her
She's a
BS, like,
mm,
oh no, not
my
me.
God.
And then immediately on her feet, and everyone's ha ha ha. Like the way they used to laugh in cartoons where their faces would freeze at the end with open mouths. Like that's how everyone
Mm-hmm.
laughs at Lisa Vanderpump. It is a
Mm-hmm.
laugh reserved for your boss. It's a real specific kind of like non-organic laugh. That party looked terrible to me. I took like no notes on it. This is where I started having, I told you before we started recording, I had like an ADD meltdown and started writing notes out of order. So my apologies. The sperm donor party sent me, and I was just like, I hate everything about this. So I like
It
just kind of
was,
erased
yeah,
my notes down to that.
it was dumb. It was so dumb. Would I rather see Bluestone Manor more or Villa Rosa more? Bluestone Manor. I think I'd rather see Bluestone Manor more at Christmas, or maybe even just for a
Interesting.
girls' trip.
I like Villa Rosa without Lisa Vanderpump in it, but I don't think that's an option. It's a
I don't
package
either.
deal. So yeah.
She doesn't live there anymore anyway, so it's not like we
Right.
have a choice. So R.I.P. Villa Rosa, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about this. Brian's back. They read through the profiles. They pick donor one. Great.
I literally at this point was like, is Lisa Vanderpump sleeping with Brian from the Cryobank, Cryo Brian? Because like, why is he there? Lala cries some more about like, we're here to
advertising.
choose my baby. It's like, this is, but I know, but like, what a weird,
Yeah.
he needs to be in the opening titles now. Like we need to give him a slow-mo shot where he turns around with like a
He's with
vial
a
of
vial of
sperm.
sperm.
Exactly. Like he has shown up. He has become such a massive presence in the show that I was just like, Brian's back at a party of all women where she said the only thing the straight men are providing, whatever. It was just, this party
God.
was weird as hell. So
It
anyways.
was like I said, I think it was just all an excuse for her to be able to say baby daddy about 1,000,000 times.
Yeah. And
She's
like probably
gross.
SpawnCon, because I'm sure maybe she's getting her sperm for free with this degree of advertising because he's
Oh,
literally
yeah,
getting
probably.
multiple
You're
minutes on
right.
this show.
So we go back to Burbank, this time without the
Airplane.
Southwest flight flyover. Allie has this scene really, I don't want to say I was on the edge of my seat, but I wasn't like, I didn't have to phone listening to this one in. You know, like you can phone listening to fucking Sandoval in because he just says whatever. He says the same thing. Allie hasn't been called yet to be married or have kids. And James says he's been working towards that his entire life. And the first thing that popped into my head, and I want to preface this with a huge disclaimer that I 110% acknowledge that being called to have children and be married is a human condition. I 100% understand that with every fiber in my being. But where it's these two people specifically, I couldn't help but wonder if, from everything we've gotten about Allie, she grew up in a really stable house. She was the only child, we've learned, and she doesn't seem like someone that she seems extremely balanced and extremely like she has a lot of self-esteem and a lot of self-worth. And when she admits her truth, at least what we've seen on camera, it's never like oh, I did this, or I'm sorry. Like she's very sure of herself. Whereas we've seen the extremely imperfect, toxic parents that James has come from. One we think came from stability, the other one came from chaos. And I wonder if James's biology and humanity is truly calling him to want marriage and children, or if it's that he wants to create the idea of family that he didn't have growing up. Completely fair and completely fine. These are not judgments. They are just observations and things I was wondering. I don't
I'm
know.
with
I could be
you.
wrong. I could be wrong.
I mean, I just really appreciated Allie's clarity and honesty and no drama behind it. Just like, I
Nope.
hear you. I know that's what you want, and I don't feel called for that. But I also do think I wrote James in quotes wants kids, but I'm not convinced he's thought through what that means. That we talked about this last week with Schwartz, who wants to be a dad. But when James wants kids, has he thought through what it means to have a partner, a pregnant partner, or a partner who's not available to him physically after giving
Mm.
birth for a while, or a
Mm-hmm,
baby that
mm-hmm,
turns you into the side piece, because the baby will
mm-hmm,
always come before the partner. And is
mm-hmm.
James going to quit being a DJ so he can come contribute to raising the baby and tend to the health of his partnership with Allie? Because right now it feels like all of that, the notion is that he'll get her pregnant, she'll have the baby, take care of the baby while he goes and blows up his DJ career, and he'll just come visit his family and that'll be effortless and no problem. But I don't know, it just seemed, I wonder if Allie senses that he hasn't really thought through the logistics of having a kid, and that would spell like doom and destruction for her. Because if the expectation is he just wants to be a dad when he's available, that's not the job. I don't think it's a
No,
much bigger job, and people
it
who
is.
seem to not consider that, watch the valley, seem to fall apart when the
Oh
kid
my
has to
God.
take your time and
Oh my
attention and
God.
money.
Yeah.
Resentment builds if you're not in a place of understanding that part of being a dad is surrendering a lot of what this partnership was before you become a dad. And I just think she said she loves him and she sees a future with him, but I think she was really clear, and I wonder if James will hear her and surrender his want to be a father and stay with her, or if he'll leave her and find someone who wants to have kids with him. You know what I mean? Like, he's a real
Yeah.
special entity.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
lots of women who want to
Yeah.
have kids, but if
Yeah.
with him is a big move, because again, like you said, you don't have like grandparents on his side that are reliable to look after a baby.
Oh my
Like,
God.
you're on your
No.
own.
I
Nobody
mean,
raised him. You're not going
yeah.
to have help raising your kids. So I don't know. I'm with you. It struck something in me too. I was like, dude, this
Yeah.
conversation is heavier than they're letting on.
And I also, like, Allie is only 24. I don't remember how old James is. What is their age difference? Is it
38,
he's 38? So
maybe.
it's pretty
Remember.
significant. This could be that she's just 24 and her, she's still building her career as an astrologist, and I believe, still going to
Oh,
school
he's
for
only
it.
32. He's only 32.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So
They got a
that's not,
decade.
yeah. Yeah, roughly. Yeah. So, I mean, it could be like she just might not be done yet. But anyway, I love that, um, I love that she said all of these things without any kind of apologies. She said what she meant. She said it kindly,
Mhm.
and but she also wasn't trying to like soften the blow for him.
She was really clear
She was really clear.
and
And
really kind.
that was amazing to see. And he says that he doesn't want to invest in this relationship with Allie like he invested with Rachel. And I have news for him. Even if on the first date with Allie, they both said, I want to get married and have kids, it doesn't mean that that is what's going to end up happening. And I know also it's part of the human condition to want to see the outcome, to avoid pain at all costs. Like, I get it. In my soul, I understand that. I have experience with that kind of thinking, you know? So I think that James is operating from a little bit of wanting to, yes, there is a healthy aspect to that. When people tell you who they are and what they want, believe them. Allie right now is telling him how her feelings are. So James can do with that what he wants. And I know that, there is obviously there's a lot to consider there, but also there are no guarantees. There are no fucking guarantees anyway. And so it's kind of like we can plan all we want. We can do everything that we think is going to make us happy or make us feel safe. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that's how it's going to work out. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and they've only been together for a year and a half.
that's true.
He was
And they
like, "We've
got
been
together
together for—"
really soon
Yeah.
after Rachel. And I still wonder if that wasn't the right thing for him to do.
I
I don't
mean,
know. I can't
there's
judge.
just no, I don't understand where his sense of urgency is coming from. There's no rush.
Right.
And, like our therapist said to us when we were kids, like, don't even consider getting married until you're 30. Don't
Yeah,
even
dude.
consider it. So if, Allie were to follow those rules, she's got 6 years before she even considers it,
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they're just both quite young. And unless he's really feeling, I've just never heard him talk about a need to be a dad ever, even when
Yeah.
he was with Raquel.
Yeah.
And he's like suddenly sober and suddenly in a new relationship and like maybe give it another
Suddenly it's
year at
urgent.
least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because you can't replace one addiction with like a kid, and that's not how that works.
Mm-mm.
If only.
And I wonder if the urgency again is because he feels like it would be like insurance that he's not going to invest all of this stuff like he did with Rachel, and then it won't work out the way he
Right.
thinks without those things. So fuck, man. I
Yeah.
don't
His
know.
little broken childhood is showing, it's
Yeah,
like, I
it
just want to lock
is.
something down. I want security,
Yeah.
and a wife and a baby feels like security, but like you say,
Yeah.
it's simply not.
Which again, I understand to an extent that's part of the human condition. I
Hmm.
understand that is something that we all share. I just was curious if there was more about it. I don't know. That's all I have to say about that scene before we move on to the TomTom brunch. Anything else to
No,
add?
I just thought it was nice that James was DJing, and
Mm-hmm.
he showed up and the first thing he did was say sorry to Sandoval. Like he's so, I don't know. And then, so James kindly apologizes and says like, I'm sorry about how I spoke to you at your rehearsal the other day. And Sandoval says like, yeah, same. And then he goes, I feel better now. But he doesn't ask anything about like James, like, are you okay after that conflict? He just says, I feel better now. And then the
He's
day
so
can proceed.
unsatisfying and
He's such
gross.
a turd. It's
Yeah,
shocking.
truly, truly. Oh God, like when I watched Katie walk in to the TomTom brunch, I just like I understand it's a cast. I just it's just the codependency really just it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. And so I just feel like, Katie, come on, you deserve better. You don't have to go to these fucking brunches, dude. Anyway, I
You
don't
mean
know.
like as it relates to Schwartz, like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schwartz, Lala, you know, like,
But
but again, this is their job.
that's the
It's her
only
job
thing.
to show up. So I
And
understand.
this is a 2% Schwartz, 98% LVP joint, and LVP writes the check.
You're
So
right. You're right.
she's smart to
It's
show up. And it's Central
You're right.
Perk. You know what I mean? It's
You're
like
right. You're right.
it's where
You're
they
right.
all hang out. So, but
You're
I hear
right.
you. It is weird. It's weird. It's just a little weird.
You're right.
But it's just
You're right.
change.
It's LVP.
It's LVP.
It's LVP's restaurant. You're right. She had to show up. Oh God. Um Katie tells Lala that Allie told her what she said about her at paintball. And again, I was really impressed by Allie because Allie wasn't like, oh, like she didn't look comfortable, but but she said it. And it's
But
true.
Lala,
Like if you're,
oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. No, you
No, I
go.
was going to say if you're gonna do the crime, you got to do the time. Like if I'm going to talk shit and it has a chance of getting back to someone, I better be willing to like talk that shit to the person's face. And I
Yeah.
didn't understand their makeup seemed really. It felt like almost like Katie was like being like coerced, like a hostage into going along with what Lala said about. I just didn't feel like Lala really meant what she said about. I don't know. Yeah, I could be wrong.
No, I don't think she did at all. But I thought Allie, to me, that was an example of someone who told the truth. And so you can come at her and yell at her with your shitty energy. And she just sat there and was like, no, I did say the word miserable, but it was just because I couldn't recall the word you said. But Allie
Mm-hmm.
knows that she didn't misrepresent what
Right.
Lala said. So
Right. Right. Right.
while it's uncomfortable to hear that tone of voice coming from someone, she sat there and was just like, yeah, no, I know what I relayed may have been a different word, but I know that the sentiment was correct. So and that Lala moved right along. Whereas Raquel would have, she would have Bambi-eyed bitched her into the ground. But Allie just isn't available for that because she's an honest person and a thoughtful
Totally.
person. And so there's nothing to be done there.
Yeah.
And yeah, this sort of broke my heart. Like, I love that Katie, Lala said, you're unhappy. And Katie's like, you're wrong. Just like laid it out there. And Katie says that she's feeling disconnected from Lala because her softness is going toward undeserving people, in Katie's opinion. And Lala claims not to know her place in Katie's life anymore. And this is where I appreciate this from Katie. Katie says to her, I don't have a partner. I don't have a kid. All I am is available to you, but it has to be effort on your end. It's not an obligation on my end. Just because I'm single doesn't mean I'm to do all of the work. And Lala says, I do check in on you all the time and you're never available. And so distance is created, dude. Like, I'm not just going to sit on your doorstep and wait for you to pick me up and play with me. Like, I have to have a life too. So I don't know.
Ooh, yeah. I don't either. But yeah. Oy, oy, oy. I don't know. The like second to last note I have is that if you have to have a huge ass vinyl sign outside of your restaurant telling us how great your brunch is, I'm not going to your fucking brunch. I don't do vinyl sign brunch.
Yeah, it's a signature of that sort of strip of Santa
Totally it
Monica
is.
Boulevard.
Absolutely.
Well, and
Like,
also, I guess because it's just new brunch, like nobody knows that place has brunch. I'm not a brunch person, so like none of it speaks to me, especially like a
God,
big slab of meat. They're like, this is brunch. I was like, is it? Like a
steak
steak
and
and
eggs.
chimichurri at like 11 a.m. I was confused, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, it didn't do anything for
It
me in terms of like, oh, I got to try brunch there. It's like, no,
no. No, I love brunch. I miss brunch.
you do?
Yeah, I do. I love brunch. I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I don't miss waiting a million years to sit down, but, you know, yeah. I miss brunch sometimes. I do. Scheana tells Tom she wrote a song, and he tells her to keep cashing in on his misery.
He says, Sandoval tells Schwartz that he feels betrayed and hurt by what Raquel said on the podcast. I'm like, you feel betrayed and hurt? He literally has lost sight of what has landed him in this position. He betrayed and hurt his partner of 10 years. And he's sitting there crying at brunch. And then, yeah, Scheana reports she added new lyrics to her song that reference the affair in like a really, really light, benign way. Like, she says, Tom went from a Ferrari to a Jetta or something. I know it's just like something so irrelevant. And then his delusional ass like instantly loses his shit. And he says to her, if you had been through what I've been through, I would never write a song like that about you. And it's like, what you have been going through, you put yourself through what you are going through. Like, what do you haven't, it's so, what's the word? Incongruous. It's not that, but
separate from
dissonant, cognitive dissonance, whatever.
Yes,
it's just
cognitive dissonance. Yes,
I don't even understand. He's operating from a different story now.
Completely.
The truth, the story is you cheated on your partner of 9 years with this woman who has now rejected you. And now you're mad because Scheana made a car reference in a song that, let's be honest, no one's going to listen to. You're fine.
Yeah. I mean, honestly.
And then he storms out and goes, go profit off my pain. And I'm like, you had a dipped out t-shirt on 3 scenes ago. You caused this damage. He's like, oh, and Tom will just be collateral damage. And I'm like, there's nothing collateral about you. You made the mess. It's not collateral. Collateral are the people who didn't create the mess, who are affected by the stink of it. You took the big shit. It's your poo, and everyone else is plugging their noses. So you don't get to claim collateral damage. It's your poo.
Totally. 100%.
Anyways.
Oy. Oh, that episode on Peacock was only 42 minutes.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, we still managed to talk about it for an hour and a half. But
always.
I know. No, I know. You're right. You're right, though. What you said 2-3 weeks ago now, like the Beverly Hill, the Housewives ladies are our families, and the Vanderpumps are our friendships and romantic relationships. And it's just like there's a lot to unpack there, apparently. So, what else did you watch this week, friend?
Well, I want you to start. I want to hear what you think of The Valley.
I can't. I don't think I can. I honestly don't think, and I'm not trying to be dramatic right now, I don't know if it's good for my mental health to watch it. Everyone seems fucking miserable. Everyone seems, and again, I don't even think I could make it through the entire first episode. I tried. Maybe it was like the very beginning of the second. I don't like, I obviously came in with ideas about Jax and Brittany because, hello, they were on Vanderpump for years. I don't know if I know enough about her and her process and her road yet, but Kristen seems to be more empathetic to, like, I'm more empathetic to her and understanding now. Again, I don't know what she's doing. I know that the Watch What Crappens guys talk about her on this show, and I know that Reddit has had some posts about her. So, I need more information, but she seems to be more level-headed and more healthy in this iteration. I don't like a lot of the husbands on this show. I don't know. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I will be entertained or just upset watching this show. So
it might
I don't
just
know.
upset you. Are you caught up?
I was in a horrendous fucking mood last night
well,
when
that
I watched.
Won't do anything to.
So yeah, maybe that was
sunlight
it. But maybe I can, like Summer House. I was also in a horrendous mood when I watched Summer House, and I caught up with last week's episode last night. Summer House doesn't make me feel bad, and you could argue that it should, because we know that Carl and Lindsay's relationship is going to implode within the next couple of episodes. And Kyle and Amanda, ooh, that makes me real itchy too. But they make me itchy. they don't make me want to head for the hills, you know? Yeah. So
yeah, there's like a sadness about the valley, like a
yeah.
hopelessness.
Yes. Everyone feels fucking trapped, and I don't want to be trapped with their dysfunction at
That
all.
is the overriding feeling. And I would say, I don't know how far you've gotten. Are you caught up with the valley?
No, not
Yeah.
even.
Because I
No.
think you'll be disappointed to find that Kristen is as manipulative as ever.
Fuck. Okay.
And
All
I
right.
think, yes. And the feeling of being trapped and hopeless advances with each episode. And Brittany and Jax are in a relationship with severe addiction problems on both sides, it appears.
Oh, God.
There's a child with special needs likely in the mix. So it's just getting sadder and
Yeah.
harder. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm having a hard time. I'm listening to it like a radio play. Like I'll put it in my headphones when I walk the dog because I can't look at it. It's like, it's just too, the pain is too raw. And it's just really disappointment forward kind of lives, you know?
Yeah. It
It's
seems like
hard.
that.
And life is hard enough. Like, I guess that's one of those things of like, I guess I do like a little bit of aspiration in my reality TV shows because this one just feels like people in my own world or, you know, I just am not, I'm not sure what I'm tuning in for except to just feel bleak.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes. And I don't want to fucking feel bleak.
No. So
I don't want to feel
I would say
like
circle wide. It doesn't get better.
yeah, okay. That's good. Or it's I'm glad that if I don't pick it up again, I'm not missing
I'll
out
let you
on
know.
anything.
I'll
Okay.
stay on top of it here and there. And if
Okay.
anything of value shows up, I'll
Because
direct you
like
back.
I didn't watch Summer House before, and now I'm like, how can I really love this show. I really, really like it.
But even just the premise of Summer House, you're like in a Hamptons home for the
right.
weekend. Like
Yes, you're
already
on
it's an
vacation.
escape.
Right.
So even if you're with like couples who are potentially mismatched and on the verge of imploding, you're still in the Hamptons and there's like blow up pool floaties and like there's distraction. In the valley,
Yeah.
you're in the valley. There's literally nothing
Right.
there. There's not even cute B-roll footage. It's just like,
dude. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're watching West and his great aunt have a little sit down in the park. Oh, I love Summer House.
I do too.
Let's see. So I caught up on Summer House. I tried the Valley, watched the basketball games, and we streamed the No Doubt concert. After Leo went to bed on Saturday night, we streamed the No Doubt concert from Coachella, and it was so fucking good. It was so good, and I really hope I can see them live at least one time together.
It looked like they were having
again.
a great time, so I would imagine this could be a thing that they just do,
they
like
all
even if
really
it's like
happy.
5 cities, that they just do a quick tour of, you know.
And it's so interesting to see Gwen Stefani in her masculine energy versus her hyper femininity, especially after, like, you know, all of her stuff with Blake. It's just, you know, again, you know, it's no secret that she has taken on some of her partner's interests and fashion wise and all that stuff a little bit throughout the years, you know, and she's embraced cowboy chic or whatever, and loves living on a ranch in Oklahoma. Okay. You and I have both been to her house. Well, like her house, like
her old house with
her old house. Oh my God, that house.
Gavin.
Yeah. She was with
guy from
Gavin
Bush.
Rossdale during that. He wasn't there that day, but yeah. So it's just, yeah, it was really good though. It was such a good concert to watch. And then what else? Did I watch any other reality TV? I know I'm still behind on, but I got to watch the last episode of Potomac. I saw the clip of what Gordon was talking about. Like, God fucking bless, dude. God bless.
Yeah, that's
God bless.
I mean, it was really impactful. Like, I don't even remember anything else that happened in the reunion. And I feel badly because last week I was making fun of it. I was like, oh, they teased it with Gordon saying like, oh, I'm going to share something that you all already know. And
how could we know? That's never happened before in the history of any of no one's ever dropped something that gnarly.
Well, and
you
what he
know?
told everyone was that he revealed a bipolar 1 diagnosis, and that was discovered upon hospitalization. So he's got it, and he said like he's got it really bad. It's very advanced. And the only part that freaked me out a little bit is that he talked about medication in a way where it sounds like he may not be taking it. And he said he relies on Mia to help him identify when a manic episode is coming on, which is fair. Like that
Yeah,
is
that's
part of
true.
it. You do need people to like help, but you need the medication to do the chemical balance work in your brain. And I did get like a little, I don't know, you'll see, he words it in this like very vague way that made me nervous. It's the same way he delivered the information the same way Nene Leakes' husband delivered the information that he was no longer going to do chemo. It was sort of the like medicine's not for me route, which is
Mm.
fine. You can make your own decisions. But, you know, colon cancer killed Greg Leakes, and bipolar is, you know, can be a fatal illness. So I don't know. It's obviously new to everybody, but Mia's like present for him and supportive of him. And they have kind of like a lovely I don't know, it's like a lovely way to carry out your vows while you're getting divorced. It's like, I'm
Yeah,
going to look
yeah,
after you in sickness, and this marriage is no longer viable, so I'm out.
yeah.
So she's in her
Oy.
happiness, but also still cares that he gets well. It was
Yeah,
really kind of, I don't know, like this deeply nuanced relationship moment that I'm still like making sense of. I'll be curious to hear what you have to say when you see it.
yeah, I really wanna see it. And obviously, like, the Monday of this week, we're recording this to, what is it, the 18th of yeah, it's the 18th of April, and so Monday, the 15th of April, all of that news dropped about, you know, Candace not coming back. Congratulations, Candace, by the way, if that congratulations finds your way to you,
She's pregnant.
the co-host of A Therapeutic Dose wish you congratulations. We're very happy
Yeah.
for you. And, NECA isn't coming back, which I really liked her. I was bummed that she wasn't coming back, but I'm sure that's just signifying big changes coming to Potomac, which I'm sure everyone's hoping for.
Robin's out.
Robin's not coming back,
And she
but
just
she brought that
tweeted
on
like, "I'm
herself,
fired." I
dude.
know, I
I
know.
know. Like
She
I
yeah,
was
surely
always
she
in
was not
Robin's
surprised.
corner. I know. So yeah, and then Alexia and Todd are getting divorced.
But it sounds like it was a surprise to Alexia.
Yeah.
It sounded like she was not aware. And the Golden Bachelor, they're done. They made it 3 months and they're quitting.
Oh, okay. I want to say that about that. I remember when he was announced. Now, okay, obviously we all know that on the fucking Bachelor, it's just so full of like people that I would never like evangelicals I can't fuck with. I can't fuck with an evangelical. I just can't. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I'm going to Allie on this one. You know, evangelicals I don't think are a good fit for me as far as people that I'm going to spend my time with. I understand that a lot of the Bachelor cast or fans, a lot of Bachelor Nation are people that I could never relate to in my real life. So back when he was like cast and everyone was getting excited for it to show up or for it to start, I posted a comment on Reddit, not even a full post, just a comment. You know, I was like, sorry, but he's really giving me, do you want to marry a millionaire vibes. I got downvoted into fucking oblivion. Then it comes out that he may have fallen in love with Teresa because she has a job as a day trader where she makes a hefty salary. And we learned that he didn't want to take the woman he was dating to his high school reunion because he didn't like her body size. I just, you know, I'm not lame enough. I have better things to do than to go back and find that post and then be like, I got downvoted to oblivion for this. Like, who gives a shit? But I just want to say, you know, the people that didn't believe in that, they were right. And we all wanted to. We all want, I like, you know, but I don't, ultimately, I don't give a shit. There are two adults who signed up for that show. If you sign up for The Bachelor, especially now after all we know about it, but then again, Joey and Kelsey still seem to like be real sweet. So we'll see, TBD. But yeah, it was a big reality show Newsweek. Margie, what did you watch?
Oh, I pretty much watched the same stuff you did. Summer House, The
Okay.
Valley, and Potomac. And then I did watch a bunch of the streaming sets from Coachella. And I don't know if you watched the Tyler, the Creator set, but it was like one of the most spectacular things I've ever seen. I can only imagine how amazing it was to see in person. He brought out all these incredible guests, and he's such a stunning musician and incredible performer. And like, I don't know. It was really like, I love seeing an artist like drop in and be fucking flawless. And that set, in my opinion, was flawless. His guests were flawless. He was so generous when they came on the stage. He made it about them. Like, it's just, I don't know. It was really quite something. So if anyone's looking for a performance to watch, I feel like that is sort of a quintessential Coachella gem.
Okay. That's good.
For your files.
I really liked watching the No Doubt set on YouTube because I hate going to concerts now because I don't want to look at a bunch of fucking phones in front of me. I don't want to. So unless I can watch from the side on the stage, I'm not fucking interested. I'm just not.
This is why Coachella is so great. It's those big, vast fields. And like, even when people have their phones up, you don't see them. Like, I missed it this year.
It looked like from the footage, like when they would go over the crowd, it just, all I saw were phones. And I was like,
well, when you're in the first
off.
like 5 to 10 rows, yes, people like jam up on each other and pull their phones out. But like, I don't know. I ached for it this year. Like my heart, like it just like felt like I was missing that piece of this time of year. But yes, there are in the front, you are packed in and people put their phones up. But then the sound is so spectacular that there's so much space. You can like dance around, you can sit on the lawn and see perfectly. Like it's such a great venue. I just, anyways, I'm so glad they were broadcasting it because I really
Me too.
got a lot out of watching.
I really liked it. I was like, oh God. So yes. Okay. Yeah.
And what was your antidepressant?
Well, let's see. I got my nails switched this week and I really love them. And then I did ketamine at home on Tuesday night. And it was a really profound trip. It was really like, holy shit, kind of one of those. And like home trips are never as impactful for me as when I go into the office and get it in my arm. Like, obviously, how could it be? But it was uncomfortable. Like the things that came up were really uncomfortable, but it also like gave me a huge burst of creativity, and I just like wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. So it was good. Yeah, it was really good.
What you said, like we were talking about.
How about you? What was yours?
I'll get there in one sec. I want to mention because it was so powerful when we were talking about this right before we started recording. You said something about how the ketamine just like erases your ego, and it gave you this whole new perspective on a situation that last week you were so sure about your position on it. And then we talked this morning and you were like, I saw this whole other angle and it took away everything, when all of those like ego blocks are removed, you can really see what's actually going on. And you had such clarity, and I could never have. I know you very well, and I would never have found my way to like that angle on this story. It was really, supportive medicine is really valuable.
It truly is. It's powerful
like
medicine.
Relationship healing.
Yep.
Valuable.
Exactly. I mean, to not have your ego involved, even when you're just like writing in your own fucking journal. And yeah, it's incredible. I'm so grateful. Oh, I love it. How about you? What was yours?
I mean, I had 1,000 antidepressants this week, so I hate my birthday, but I have lots of people in my life who love me and reached out to express that this week. And I'm sitting in a home surrounded by flowers and like new art from friends. And I had like lovely meals with people who I care about. I have new friends that are re-entering my life at this moment in time. And like professionally, I don't know if I've even talked about this really, but a few years ago now, I went through an experience professionally that like was really disorienting and upsetting and disappointing and let me down in big ways. And I separated myself from the business for a while and am, have been cautiously re-entering with a focus on trying to stay really close to really good people because there's so many really, really good people in this business. And it's randomly happened that a few of them from, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, people I worked with 5 or 6 years ago who are great people have sort of, we found our way back into one another's lives and like projects are building out of that. And it just is feeling like slow, but like it's exactly what I asked for. So like if I can be patient, this feels like, it feels like springtime in that area of my life as well. So, that's my
I
perspective
love
this
that so
week.
much. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm
We'll
so
see where I'm
glad.
at next week. But
Tell everybody where you took a meeting this week.
oh yeah. I went to Jade's, the coffee shop that Sutton was at on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. That caught my fancy because it looked so cute. And it's as cute as promised. It is quiet as fuck. So it is just like built for like a middle-aged rich lady. But the shop itself is small, but it's so sunny and beautiful. And the coffee was fucking outstanding. Not like desperately expensive, but you pay for your Bel-Air coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And it's right across the street from like these giant gated estates. So like you can sit on the patio and just like watch ultra rich life happen. It's like watching like a very low stakes reality show from that patio, but it was great. It was
I
really,
love it. Oh my
I
God,
did
I want to
too.
go.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Next time you're in town, we can go. It's not
Hells
far.
yeah. Love it. Love it. I would love that. All right, everyone. We already gave the spiel to rate, review, and subscribe. At the beginning of the podcast, we won't do that again right now, unless you need the extra reminder. And there you go. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And Margie, I love you so much. I'm so glad I got to talk about this with you.
Same.
I feel 10 times better than I did before we started. And we will see everybody next week. Have a great week. Try to embrace your inner Allie, meaning don't apologize for your truth. Say what you mean, but say it kindly. I'm going to try to embrace my inner Allie from here on out. And we'll be back next week.
Take good care, everybody, and we'll talk next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.